Hi, fans of high-quality entertainment. I am doing another tier list. So this time, it's a combination of Beatles album covers and Beatles solo album covers. And just please note that this was a pre-made one on tier list that, you can make your own tier list out of it. So I think there are some albums missing, so don't blame me. For instance, the first three experimental albums, I believe, aren't here by John and Yoko, which I guess is a good thing. So it'll be interesting. I have done a tier list before I think, for the Beatles albums and possibly Paul's. But, my opinion sometimes changes a little bit through the months and years. So we'll see. This will be just for fun. And as usual, you're not going to agree with me on all of my picks because I have my own opinion and you have your own opinion. Let's all try and get along and be friendly. So S is superior, and then A, B, C, D, and E is the absolute worst. So Yellow Submarine, the soundtrack, I like that. I would put that in A. You know what? I'm going to put that in S tier. Yeah. Would you put that in S tier? Let me know in the comment section below. The Beatles Abbey Road, that's S tier. That's at the start of S tier. Let It Be. It's not my favorite Beatles album cover, but it's not bad either. I'll put that in B. Now, you notice that Paul is the only one that doesn't have a white background. That's more proof that Paul's dead. McCartney, his first real solo album. I know he had the Family Way soundtrack before that in the 60s. That's really cool. I love it. I'm going to put that in A tier. That's Linda McCartney's photography. It's cool. Ram. See, an album like Ram, it's my all-time favorite Paul McCartney solo album. But I got to take away, how great the album is and just focus on the album cover. But I do like it. It's like a homemade, the whole package of it. I don't think it's A tier, though. I'll put it in at the start of B. People are complaining already. You're wrong, Larry. McCartney 2, I know some people don't care for that, but I like the humor of it and the shadow in the back. I'll put that in B tier, but Ram is in first place for B tier. McCartney 2, I've never really cared for the album cover. I'll put that in C. Now, I am colorblind with red and green, for just letting you know, for any of these album covers. So maybe I see some album covers a bit different than you might. Pipes of Peace. What a crappy album cover. I'll put that in D. Paul McCartney, give my regards to Broad Street, the great movie. Right up there with Citizen Kane. I'm joking. I don't like that. I'm going to put that in E. Press to Play. It's a nice 50-ish, 50s photo, but it just doesn't suit the album within, And I think that's an underrated album. But still, it's a nice photo. So I'll put it in B, but at the end of B. All right, with the Beatles, that's a classic. I'm going to put that right there. Paul's Russian album. It's kind of boring. I'll put it there. I like it more than Tug of War. Flowers in the Dirt. I know some people like that album cover, but not me. I'll put that in C. Right there. Off the Ground. It stinks. It's a bunch of feet. I know that Janet Sampson, better known as Bob, I don't think he's a fan of this album cover either. So is it E or D? I don't know. I think it's E. It goes to the start of E. Flaming Pie, not the greatest photo of Paul, but I kind of also, I don't dislike it. And it is a great album. But I'm focusing on the album cover. I'll put that at the start of C. Run Devil Run. I kind of like that. It's 50s kind of, and he's doing 50s music. I kind of like it. I'll put it ahead of Press to Play. Now, Driving Rain. Once again, a very underrated album. It's just a bit too long. And it's all, pixelated because Paul took it with his watch, which had a camera on it. But I don't hate it because it's just, it's different. But it's not great either. I'll put it in C, at the start of C. Now, I love this, and I love the album. Chaos and Creation in the Backyard. And usually I would have the bigger photos, but that takes a lot of work. And most of you know what these album covers look like, up close anyway. So, Chaos and Creation in the Backyard. I love that photo. I believe it was taken by his brother, Michael. I'm going to put that right there in S tier. Memory Almost Full. What a stupid album cover. I put that in E. I put that at the start of E, even though it's a great album. Kisses on the Bottom. Now, if it was titled differently, Kisses on the Bottom is just such a awkward... You get this vision in your mind. Or at least I do. But it's meant, kisses on the bottom of a letter. But it is a nice Valentine's kind of a photo of Paul McCartney. So it's not terrible. I'll put it at the end of B. How am I doing so far? New. I like New. That's cool. I will put New in A, but I like McCartney's debut better. The Beatles, A Hard Day's Night, with their funny expressions, except for, I think, is it Ringo? He doesn't really change his expression much, and that bugs me. I'll put it in A. Right there. Egypt Station. I love Paul's artwork, and not just because it's Paul McCartney. I know some people, it's because it's Paul McCartney. I love, just like Captain Beefheart's artwork, it's really, experimental and weird. And then, of course, the gatefold folds out a couple of times or more. I'm going to put that in A tier. Right there. McCartney 3, I like it. I like it, but I'm not going to go crazy. I'll put that in B tier. Right, right there. Actually, at the start of B tier. Uh, Wings Wildlife. That's a very nice photo, and I love that there's no other text on it. Just that photo. I'm going to put that in A tier. Right there. And remember to like the video, please. Thank you. Red Rose Speedway, another kind of humorous shot of Paul. And once again, I feel that's a very underrated album. I kind of like it. I'm going to put that in B tier. Right there. Actually, yeah, ahead of Ram. Band on the Run, that's a classic. That's got to go in S tier. Right there. Ahead of Yellow Submarine. Venus and Mars, I like that one too. That's got to be, that's S tier. Put that in S. Right there. What's that? I'm doing a great job, thank you. You agree with all of my choices? That's awesome. Wings at the Speed of Sound, that's boring. I'll put that in D. But I like it more than Pipes of Peace. London Town. Yeah, never been, I love the album, but I've never been a fan of that album cover. And you can tell that they're actually not there. I'll put that in D. But at the end of D, because it's not, the other two are worse. It's going to be a long video. Back to the Egg. That's kind of cool. I'm going to put that in A. Right there. John Lennon. Plastic Ono Band. I love that. And Yoko's album is the same, except they're reversed on it. I'm putting that in S tier. I love it when there's no text and it's just a really, really nice photo. Beatles for Sale. Look how happy the Beatles look. I've grown to really, really like this album cover, even though they look kind of, they're tired. I like it. I'm going to put it at the start of A. You know what? I'm going to put it in S tier. Right there. John Lennon, Imagine. It's okay. It's kind of nice. I will put it right there. Sometime in New York City. Ugh, I don't know. I kind of like it. I'm sure some of you don't. I'll put it right there. Mind games I never really cared for. I'll put that in C. At the start of C, though. Walls and Bridges, the original vinyl with the flaps and everything. That was a pretty cool design, and John Lennon's artwork. Not my favorite, though, but I'll put it in B. Right there. I love this one. Rock and Roll John Lennon, great shot of him and the signage and everything. That's S tier for me. Too bad the album isn't as good as the album cover for me. Right. You know what? I really love that album cover. Right there. Okay, Double Fantasy. Nothing too exciting. I'll put that in C. At the start of C. And then Milk and Honey, same thing. But I like Double Fantasy album cover. Well, they're both nice. George Harrison, All Things Must Pass, classic album and a classic album cover. That's S tier. I'm going to put it ahead of With the Beatles. Excuse me. Dark Horse, kind of a, always reminds me of Sgt. Pepper, just not as good, but it's okay. I'll put George in between Paul and John. Living in the Material World. It's all right. I'll put that in C. Look, it's two hands. Isn't that weird? What a coincidence. Paul is always copying what George does. But I like it more than Mind Games. Right there. The Beatles Help. The UK version. It's not one of my favorite Beatles album covers, but still, it's the Beatles on the cover. So, right there. Extra texture. Of course, it was a cutout, die cut. But just the album cover alone is very boring. So I'll put that in E. "33 1/3", great album. I like that. It's a nice picture of George. I'm going to put that in B tier. Right there. George Harrison, self-titled. It's all right. Put that in C. I don't even remember what that is called. But somebody will let me know. I'll put that in B. It's not bad. Is that somewhere in England? Yeah. Gontropo. Is that how you pronounce it? Somebody will let me know. Not the greatest. It's psychedelic. Right there. Cloud 9, nice picture of George. Kind of a bland cover though overall, but still not terrible. I'll put that. There we go. Brainwash, that's kind of different. I kind of do like it. I'll put that in B. Sentimental Journey. I always like that album cover. I'm going to put that in A. Way to go, Ringo. Because, I don't know how you pronounce that. Because of Blues. Is that how you say it? I like that. Great country album. That's A tier. Yeah, right there. Ringo. His best album for me, and probably his best album cover. That's S tier. Of course, once again, trying to do a Sgt. Pepper's kind of a thing, but it works. Right there. Rubber Soul. That goes at the end of B. I'm just joking. I'm a comedian. S tier. I think that I love that even more than Abbey Road. Goodnight Vienna. Not as good as the Ringo album. We'll put that right there. Ringo's Rotra Groover, or however you pronounce that. Ugh. Not good. We'll put it right there. Ringo the Fourth is terrible. But Memory Almost Full is the worst of them so far. Doesn't really matter. They're all pretty bad. Bad Boy, that's okay. Showing his rings. I'll put that in C. Look at all the hands on the. Never really thought of that before. Cool. I like that more than George's. Right there. Stop and Smell the Roses. Nice picture of Ringo, but kind of bland. Right there. Old Wave, I like that one. It's a takeoff on New Wave at the time, and then the 50s picture of Ringo. Right there. Time Takes Time, is that what it's called? Yeah, Time Takes Time. That's kind of cool. Where'd it go? There it is. I'll put that in A. Right there. Vertical Man. It's the best of the ones in D, but still not very good. I Want to Be Santa Claus. That's a bad one. Yeah, I don't like that at all. Ringo Rama. That's all right. Put it there. Revolver is awesome. Not a bad album either. Oh boy. Um, yeah. Choose Love, Ringo. Boring. Put it there. Liverpool 8 is terrible. There. Why Not is not great. But it's not bad. Just right there. Ringo 2012. What a boring album cover and title. D. Ringo, whatever that's. Oh, Postcards something. It's kind of boring. Give More Love. What's that called? I don't know. It's another Ringo album. But I like it more than the Postcards one. And another Ringo album. What's something? I don't know. That's kind of poor Ringo. Oh, Sergeant Pepper, where will that go? I wonder where Sergeant Pepper will go. Anybody know where Sergeant Pepper is gonna go? It's going to the top of the top top of the popper. Forget it. I never liked Magical Mystery Tour. It hurts my eyes. I'll I'll put it at the start of C. The Beatles' White Album. Now I know some people would put that in E, but the original with the embossed the Beatles and the number, the stamp number, it was just so different from Sergeant Pepper that I think, for me, it's S tier. Don't laugh at me. But where in S tier? Right there. And the Beatles, Please Please Me. Nice shot of them. Not crazy about having the song titles on the album cover, but that was happening in the early 60s. I'll put that in B. Right there. So yeah, this is just trying to do it quickly, right? And I'm trying my best, and that is it. And like I said, there might be some albums missing, but this is somebody's tier maker list that you can, make your own list with. Yeah, be curious. Let me know what you think is my worst, the album cover that is the lowest that you disagree with, and the one that's the highest that you disagree with. Let me know in the comment section below. Thanks for 30 minutes. Ugh. Who's going to watch a 30-minute video? Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye.